All right, I think we're ready. Good morning. This is Carl Blackstone at the Columbia Chamber, and we're really excited that y'all are here, and thanks for checking in with us this morning for the inaugural version of Coffee with Carl. I know some of y'all are shocked that I'm actually this technologically advanced that I can do this. I assure you I'm not. And as someone on this call mentioned yesterday, it's probably better to have cocktails with Carl instead of coffee with Carl, but for what it's worth, we'll move on with this today. What we thought we'd do was just give a brief synopsis of what's going on in around the Midlands as far as this corona outbreak, and then if y'all have questions, if you're on the computer, feel free to type in a question for me, or if you're online, you can send an email to info@columbiachamber.com. That's info@columbiachamber.com, and we'll do our best to, I'll do my best to answer it. Now, full disclosure, I'm not going to know everything, and so if you have a question that I can't answer, we'll find the answer and get it back to you, okay? So, a lot has gone on in the last 2 weeks. This is definitely a scary time, and one that is history in the making. And as somebody told me this week, history's better to be read than actually living through it, and there's some kernel of truth to that. But what we're seeing is unprecedented times, and it's one that we all have to use a little bit of patience, and we'll get through it. Yesterday, the city of Columbia took some steps that I got a lot of calls on about staying at home. We've also seen city of Charleston, Myrtle Beach, Greenville's taking it up on Monday, and Beaufort County took it up as well yesterday. So, stay at home means is a very, very broadly written ordinance. For those that want to see it, I think there's the first. There are a lot of whereases, but there's also a lot of exemptions. And so this was meant to make you think a little bit and say, if you do not need to be out, don't go out. If you have an essential business to do or run, absolutely do it, but use the social distancing guidelines that are in place while you do it. So it's not meant to stop commerce. That was one of the points that the mayor and I had a couple of days this week. We actually have been talking regularly, but when he mentioned this to me, you know, my biggest concern is a lot of small business owners that are struggling. There are guidelines in place for banks and insurance companies, et cetera, but a lot of small businesses are struggling right now. And so this does allow exemptions for restaurants, of course, and places that do takeout, convenience stores, gas stations, grocery stores, et cetera. So, by the way, you can find this on our website as well. So if you want to read it or download it, feel free to from our website. I'm going to switch it to the next page of exemptions, but there are tons and tons of exemptions, and so which made it a little bit easier. The biggest thing, contractors, anybody doing business with contractors can stay open. Real estate individuals, anyway. There are a lot, so take a look, and if you have questions about that, we can answer those. What else are we going to see? You know, I think we're going to be sitting in place for about 3 weeks, and I don't see any way around it. Schools delay until 1st of May, which most likely will be delayed after that. Richland County has quickly got a lot of cases in the last week. A lot of testing obviously has been done, but we're tied for second right now as most cases within a county. Charleston and Richland are tied, and Kershaw still leading the way. But we've got to take care of this, and we've really, if we don't spend the next couple weeks taking care of it, this is going to drag out to June possibly, which will be disastrous for this economy. So anyway, the biggest news that a lot of people are asking about is the package out of D.C. I think Congress or the House of Representatives is about to vote on the final package now, and those funds should be flowing in the next 2 to 3 weeks down to businesses through the Department of Labor. once we have a final version of the bill, the one that actually will pass the House today, we'll put that bill up on our website as well. There's a lot of components to it, small business loans, forgiveness loans, etc. But that's very, very fluid. I think the bill is pretty much done, but they've got to pass it today. Speaking of today, the City of Columbia passed some small business relief efforts on Tuesday, and they're looking for folks that need small loans from $5,000 to $10,000. Those their website at the Office of Economic Engagement at the City of Columbia is open. It's on their website today, and they are going to start taking applications today. So if you are a small business, they're looking at folks that have less than 50 employees that could need help, whether it's on rent or for paying employees. The City of Columbia is willing to help. So again, check their website at the City of Columbia Economic Development Office, and they can help you there. Okay, I'm going to keep chatting because I don't see any questions as of this point. But if you have any questions, feel free to email me, info@columbiachamber.com, or if you're logged in on the computer, feel free to type out a question and we'll find it. There are going to be more questions on the relief package, obviously, that's coming down through Congress, specifically Department of Labor. If you have questions on any labor laws, we were fortunate to have Kathy Helms with Ogletree Deacons with us last week for a town hall style meeting, and she gave great tips on what employers can and cannot do, or what they shouldn't do. If you have questions, there is a link on our website for Kathy's entire 45-minute conversation, so feel free to check that out. All right, good question from Hampton Oliver. Will local banks process SBA loans, and which ones? So right now, that's to be determined. As of yesterday, what I was looking into was some loans will be processed through SBA. There are SBA, I know Wells and Bank of America, a lot of banks that process those SBA loans. I will tell you, most banks are anxious and are working with every business that I know of right now because it's in their best interest, as well as the real estate folks, landlords. They're not looking to find new tenants right now. They want to keep the ones they have and will work with you as much as they can. So there will be lots of banks that offer SBA loans. I know the big ones, and I know there were some that weren't registered to process SBA loans that are in the process of filling out their paperwork to do such same thing. Let me ask Patrick, do we know any solopreneurs without employees qualify for any of the small business loans? There are a lot that are designed for employees and incentives to keep employers to pay for their employees, but there are some that can help reduce rent and et cetera if you have an office, et cetera. Patrick, that's a great question, one that I need to look a little bit more into. I know Senator Graham is actually having a call with folks this afternoon to talk a little bit more about specifics of the bill, because quite frankly, it got up to 1,100 pages, and I doubt everybody's read it. But I will check on the single employee folks and see what type of relief they have. That's a good question. Another one, with the stay-at-home orders to employees, need to write letters for employees who need to work since the company's essential service, or possibly show to law enforcement. It probably would not be bad to have, but if there's an exemption that meets the criteria for your business, I think you should be good. This is really meant, the stay-at-home order was meant to be broad to make sure business continues. So I think you shouldn't have a problem with the City of Columbia Police. Patrick had another quick question. Are nonprofits being specifically considered for assistance? Yes, 501c3s are in the federal bill. I know that because we're a 501c6 and the chamber does not qualify, but the 501c3s are included in the federal aid package. Hampton, in the federal package, what is the underwriting difference for a loan and a forgivable loan? Legit question, one that I have not been able to see the bill itself, but I will, Hampton, I'll make sure you get that answer today when we see the bill once the House passes just shortly. But I do know that they were working on those criteria, and that may come from SBA in the next day. If knowing the federal government, they pass something and it's going to take a couple of days to get clarity from individual departments. Good questions. Let's see. Jamie Orr, is there anything we as chamber partners can specifically do to help? You know, that's an awesome question. There are a lot of small businesses that need support, whether it's the restaurants that need support. They're doing everything they can to keep the doors open and keep people fed. You know, if you're in your specific business, if you can put it out there on social media that you're willing to help other small businesses that may need some help in your field of expertise, that would be great. We've got a spot on our webpage. It's our B2B introduction to business. It's hot deals. If you've got a service that you could provide to other chamber partners, or at least advice or consent or whatever that you can give, put it there, and we'll be happy to promote it. But as far as help your neighbors, this is a time that we've got to really come together as a community to help not only businesses but also our neighbors, because we're on the front end of this and it's going to take us a long time. And the other thing that we're going to need is a lot of patience. Patience with our elected leadership, patience with our kids and everybody we're at home with, and probably some prayers to go along with that. Patrick, is economy versus lives a false dichotomy? What is the chamber's position on Trump's return to work rhetoric? We could have a little bit of hype out there on the media, but this really is a dangerous thing. And again, the worst thing that can happen is that this thing goes on and on for months. Our economy can't handle that. So we've got to really sit back, let this thing run its course for the next couple of weeks. If you don't need to go out, don't go out. Practice social distancing, and then we can hopefully see us through and move on. The political question I'll leave to you, Patrick. Hey, Melanie, Richland Library has some resources on its website that include loans and emergency funds for artists and solopreneurs. Great. So, Patrick, check out the Richland County Library. They've got fantastic resources on their website. They do a great job. Thank you, Melanie, for that. And we'll try to provide a link on our website for that as well. All data is good right now, and there is a ton of it out there. So we'll try to vet it and make sure it's legit, and then we'll put it on our website for everyone to see. But thanks so much, Melanie, for that. All right, let me check one other place for questions. All right. Mr. Wheeler, hello. Yes, the Lindsey Graham update today will be available to the public. His public one is at 2 o'clock today. It's a Facebook Live that he will have. If you go to his website or his Facebook page, you will see it. There's no pre-registration on that. I think you just click on it 2 o'clock p.m. today, and he will have it there. All right, let me check. for those that are looking, email questions, info@columbiachamber.com, info@columbiachamber.com. And if you're on the video portion of, if you're virtual, feel free to, there's a box in the left-hand corner, type your question and I'll try to answer it. So, excuse me one second, I'm having a sip of coffee. We'd love to hear any success stories you hear, and I know Z-Verse is a local 3D company, 3D printing company that got approved by CMS this week to make face shields, and they are currently looking for injection molders to help produce those. So if you know anybody in the injection molding business, ask them to contact us, and we will put them in touch with Z-Verse, or you can go to zverse.com. And again, a local company right downtown that does 3D printing, but they pivoted their business to help make masks, face shields for healthcare workers. And so there's a good article online about that today. Great. John Barnes just sent me a slide deck from the Small Business Administration latest guidance on SBA loans. We will add that to our website. If you look under SBA guidance on our website, you will find that PowerPoint slide deck. So thank you for that, John. I appreciate that. All right. Let's see. Any other questions? I don't want to draw this thing out too much, but if anybody's got it, I'm happy to help. So we'll continue to do these calls. We've done a couple of town hall style meetings in the past few days. We're going to continue to do that next week. I hope to get some elected officials on here to talk a little bit more about what they're doing in D.C. And we'll probably need a lot more advice and help as we go through this and weather the storm together. But absent any, hold on. If Governor McMaster issues a statewide stay-in-place order, does that impose anything that our current citywide stay-at-home order already includes? That's a good question. As of last night, and the papers, according to the papers this morning, the governor is not looking at a stay-at-home, even though Beaufort County, Myrtle Beach, Charleston, Columbia, and Greenville are considering a stay-at-home. I'm sure they will include the same types of exemptions that Homeland Security includes in their exemptions when that order, if he ever does do it. He may not, but of course we have, and Steve and Charleston, or the mayor of Columbia and the Charleston folks followed pretty much Homeland Security on the way that was written. Sarah also says the South Carolina Small Business Development Corporation is available to help small businesses go through the SBA application and fill out forms with them. So if you check out SCSBDC.com, South Carolina Small Business Development Corp.com, centers, I think I said corp, but centers, they can help. So SCSBDC.com. And thank you very much, Sarah, for offering to help. Those applications can be very cumbersome and frustrating, but any help would be appreciated. So thank you very, very much. All right, got one more. Yes, Ted Creech, good advice. We plan to have somebody come and help us walk through from the federal level next week to walk through the entire package. And quite frankly, we may need another, I think this was the third package, and we may need a fourth or fifth, depending on how our economy bounces back. So anyway, with that, I wish you well. Thank you for tuning in today. Be safe. Stay at home if you can. If you must travel travel to and from work, grocery store, and then avoid the big crowds. We really do need to nip this thing in the bud. So thanks for calling in. Thanks for your questions. We'll have we're recording this conversation, so if you need to come back to it, but we'll also put as much as we can on our webpage at thecolumbiachamber.com. Thanks a bunch. See ya.